Welcome into the Week 4 recap. Man, was it a crazy one. It was a very fun Week 4. Most of the games came down to Sunday and Monday night, and it was a fun time, so let's get right into it with the redraft recap. Washington Rednecks 1-3 defeats, no pun intended, 3-1, 142.97 to 130.58. The Washington Rednecks notched their first win on the season over previously undefeated, no pun intended. DJ Moore was a big factor in this one, going for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and the Panthers lost to the Cowboys. This is also a much-needed conference win for the Rednecks, attempting to inch the gap closer. For no pun intended, scoring above the league median and losing is unlucky, but the 3-0 start should give them enough cushion to make a run at the conference title. Bills Mafia 1-3 defeats Gumpy Glizzies 2-2, 158.5 to 117.87. Bills Mafia also notches their first win of the season in emphatic fashion, scoring the second most fantasy points of the week, even with Cordell Patterson on the bench. This looks like a turn in the right direction for Bills Mafia, but we will see going forward. Gumpy Glizzies, on the other hand, falls to 2-2 after poor showings from DeAndre Swift and Chris Godwin. At an even 500 record, though, Gump will be in the middle of the pack, trying to improve as weeks go on. Scoop the Delinquent 1-3 defeats Leftist Tears 3-1, 125.79 to 115.08. With this win for Scoop the Delinquent, all 3 previous winless teams find their first victory in the same week. A little lucky on Scoop's part, though, as they faced one of only 3 possible teams that they could have beat given the points they scored. Not anything to write home about on the roster, but the QBs were solid this week, and if Scoob wants to continue the winning path, they'll need that to be a regular occurrence. As for Leftist Tears, a regression to the mean was inevitable. After starting flaming hot 3-0, an ice-cold lowest score of the week will humble. On top of the poor performance, starting running back Joe Mixon is currently dealing with an injury that may sideline him for a bit. Only time will tell. Ben Steeler Virginity 3-1 defeats Nico's League 2-2, 161.8 to 123.99. Ben Steeler Virginity bounces back from the Week 3 loss to tally the most fantasy points of the week and easily dispose of Nico's League. The Bills' defense was stout in this one, recording 4 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and a shutout on their way to a 21 fantasy point performance. For Nico's League, not all is lost, as David Montgomery shows his dominance in Chicago, and Saquon Barkley reminds everyone he's still elite. The O.J. Simpson Conference will be a fun one to watch going forward. Our Week 5 game of the week in redraft is Leftist Tears 3-1 versus Ben Steeler Virginity 3-1. Not only the second time in 3 weeks that this game has been played, but also the second time in 3 weeks it receives Game of the Week honors. Ben Steeler Virginity will be looking to avenge Week 3's loss. Our Week 5 power rankings, starting from the bottom. Staying put, Scoob the Delinquent. At number 7, staying put, the Washington Rednecks. At number 6, staying put, Bills Mafia. At number 5, moving down 1 spot, Gumpy Glizzies. At number 4, moving up 1 spot, no pun intended. At number 3, moving down a spot, Nico's League. At number 2, moving up a spot, Ben Steeler Virginity. And at number 1, staying put, Leftist Tears. We will move into Dynasty. So, Gump Dynasty 1-3 defeats Stratton Oakmont Inc. 0-4, 156.18 to 127.25. Dare we call it the Toilet Bowl? In hindsight, this game ended up being a pretty good one with lots of scoring, though it did pit 2 winless teams together with the assurance that one team wouldn't leave it the same as they entered, and that team was Stratton Oakmont Inc. Sitting at 0-4, Stratton Oakmont Inc. will likely need to pull off a miracle in the conference tournament to make the playoffs. If that doesn't happen, we'll see if they'll be able to fend off last place and avoid Lake Erie. For Gump Dynasty, a much-needed win gets tallied to the record. Wide receivers Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin lead the way, each earning more than 25 points. Quarterback may be a weak spot for Gump Dynasty, though, and we'll see how that situation pans out going forward. Cummer Dynasty 4-0 defeats the Scoop Empire 1-3, 158.34 to 153.34. Winning by exactly 5 points, Cummer Dynasty narrowly avoids disaster and scores the most points of the week. The reigning champs are 4-0 and not looking back. After coming all the way from 6th seed to win the title last season, they are looking to keep the momentum going to take that 1 seed heading into the conference tournament. As for the Scoob Empire, one of the unluckiest weeks of the year creeps up and they lose despite scoring only 5 points less than the highest score of the week. Lots of good can be taken from their performance, though, as Sam Darnold is looking like a QB1 and Saquon Barkley is quietly returning to his normal self. I Am They 3-1 defeats Nico's dream team. We're in Dynasty now. 1-3. 123.73 to 117.73. If someone gets unlucky in the week, that means someone had to get lucky, and I Am They is that someone picking up the win while scoring the second least amount of points of the week. Tom Brady and Keenan Allen disappointed, but Corey Davis and Ezekiel Elliott shined to push the team past Nico's dream team. Speaking of Nico's dream team, a concerning 0-3 stretch is not ideal, and they'll be looking to pick up the pace to keep up with the top of the Rednecks Conference. And Prestige Worldwide 4-0 defeats Sneezy Raccoon 74 2-2, 133.36 to 124.87. Coming all the way down to Monday Night Football, Prestige Worldwide squeaks by and beats Sneezy Raccoon 74 by less than 10 points. It was almost exactly 10 points that was needed from Mike Williams for Sneezy Raccoon 74, but even as the Chargers score 4 touchdowns on their way to the win, Mike had nothing noteworthy and ended up with his season low of 1.35 points. Prestige Worldwide moves to 4-0, but has some work to do to get past Cumber Dynasty, who's also undefeated atop the Rednecks Conference. Our Dynasty Week 5 game of the week is Cumber Dynasty 4-0 versus Nico's Dream Team 1-3. Cumber Dynasty will look to keep the hot streak going from last year into this year, but Lamar Jackson and Nico's Dream Team stand in the way in this fun Week 5 matchup. Our Week 5 Dynasty Power Rankings starting from the bottom. At number 8, not moving, Stratton Oakmont Inc. At number 7, not moving, the Scoob Empire. At number 6, not moving, Nico's Dream Team. At number 5, not moving, Up Dynasty. At number 4, not moving, Prestige Worldwide. At number 3, moving down a spot, Sneezy Raccoon 74. At number 2, moving down a spot, I Am They. And at number 1, moving up 2 spots, our reigning champions, Cumber Dynasty. That concludes the Week 4 recap. What a crazy week. We will likely see more of those in the future. And that future will start next week. We'll be right back with the Week 5 recap next week. We'll see you then.